guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the new 4K for Crawl. But before we do that, if you guys like 4K reviews, Blu Ray reviews, movies, games, and some tech along the way, then consider subscribing because we do all that here. So Crawl came out in 2019 and it was directed by a French director that I'm having an extremely tough time pronouncing his name, but I'll give it hell. Alexandre Aja, it's A-J-A. I don't even know how to pronounce that. And I've actually seen a ton of movies that this guy has directed, such as in 2003 he did High Tension. I seen that movie a very long time ago with an English dub over it, and I actually have the Blu Ray for that. In 2006 he did The Hills Have Eyes remake, and that is actually arguably better than the original. Another movie that I seen of his in 2010, he did Piranha 3D, and that also I enjoyed. And then the last on his filmography list that I have seen is Crawl. So Crawl was originally released in 2019, and it was produced by Sam Raimi, and you know Sam Raimi from the original Spider-Man trilogy, the Evil Dead movies, and another recent movie I just watched from Sam Raimi was Drag Me to Hell. So Sam Raimi has been around for a long time. He's a huge corner post in the horror directing community. I really enjoyed this movie. I had a great time with it. You know, I'm really into the shark movies. I absolutely love Jaws. Is it a little corny? Maybe, but it's not terrible. I've seen way worse. And, you know, it was a fun ride, especially I've never seen it before. I had a great time watching it. So, basic plot of the movie. The main character's name is Haley Keller, played by Kaya Scodelario. These are very, very hard names. I apologize if I'm butchering these, but I'm having a tough time reading these names. And her father is Dave Keller, played by Barry Pepper. I guess they had somewhat of a falling out. They don't really dive too deep into that. But the main character, Haley, is I wouldn't say professional, but she's on the touring swimming team in her school or in her, maybe a college thing, I'm not sure. But she's on a professional swimming team, and her dad always supported her swimming, and he was the coach for a while. And they had somewhat of a falling out. So the movie basically starts, there's a hurricane happening, that they're in Florida. Haley's sister calls her and says, "Hey, have you spoke to Dad? I haven't heard from him. Can you go check on him?" And she's like, "I haven't spoke to him either. We're kind of in a fight." And then she decides to go check on him. Now the police are closing off all the towns, all the roads are flooding, and they're not really allowed to go there, but she sneaks past them and no one really knows she's there. So she gets to her father's condo and finds that he left his dog, Sugar, which is my favorite character of the movie. This is her father's best friend. He would never leave home without the dog. So she knows immediately that something's wrong. So he just recently divorced their mother, his wife, and he went to the house that they were supposed to sell, where they were all last a family. Once the divorce happened, they moved out. Everyone kind of went their separate ways. I guess it was a bad breakup. They don't really get into that. I don't think the mother does not make an appearance in the movie. She's just mentioned. So she ends up going to the foreclosure house, which is the house that they lived in previous to the father's condo. She takes the dog with her in her Jeep over there, and she finds her dad's truck in the driveway. She goes inside to investigate and look for her dad, and she finds his tools, and he was working on the sink, and he's still nowhere to be found. He's not answering. His phone is there, but it's dead. So she goes into the basement, and she finally finds her dad, but he's passed out. He's not dead. He looked dead at first, but he's still alive. He's breathing, and he has some sort of injury, and we don't know what it's from. So she's trying to drag him out to get him to help because the town is flooding. There's a hurricane, and it's severe weather, and there's nobody else in the neighborhood. Everyone already evacuated, so they're in trouble. Right before she gets to the stairs, an alligator blows through the stairs, and then the movie really starts. So they have a very short amount of time to get out of the basement before it floods, and they drown. So now their dog is still upstairs, Sugar, which is my favorite character because I just absolutely love dogs. They always pan back to see what Sugar is doing, and I love that. I was just so worried that they were going to harm this dog in this movie, and I was like, that's really going to affect my rating on this. But they didn't, thank God. She finds there's a second way to get up to the top floor, and there's a piece of furniture blocking it, so they can only get it up a little bit, but the dog Sugar comes over there, and she's licking her hands through the crack, and she's just like digging at the floor, and it's just awesome. Like the dog does not want to leave its loved ones. That's her whole life down there. The last shot they had is the way the alligators came in, and that's the drainage pipe. So our main character, Haley, finally gets into the drainage pipe. She gets into the house, and she opens up the hatch, and she gets her dad out. Earlier in the movie, there was a couple across the street trying to rob the ATM out of the gas station, but they got eaten by gators, and their boat was still there. So they saw the boat, they tried to get into the boat, but that didn't work out either. And there was a big tidal wave, it blew them right back into the house, and we're back to square one, basically. But this is a 2-story house, and they finally make it to the staircase, and they get upstairs, up onto the roof. Luckily, a rescue helicopter was coming, and they light a flare. The helicopter sees them, so she's up there with her father and the dog. Boom, the helicopter sees them, credits. Great movie. So again, this was my first time seeing it. I really did enjoy it. I hope I didn't spoil too much.
Are you kidding me, dude?
It's kind of hard to say the plot for a movie like this because you really know what's going to happen before you even watch it. But it was a good watch if you're into the shark movies, if you're into Jaws, if you're into Lake Placid or the movie Alligator. We have a review for that on the channel also. And, the alligator movies are a little bit different of a breed than the shark movies. I prefer the shark movies for sure. But this was, next to Lake Placid, I think this was one of my favorite alligator movies. I had a really good time with it. It being produced by Sam Raimi, that's just bonus points for me. But with all that being said, let's jump into the 4K review. So this movie was released originally in 2019. So it was definitely shot digitally, and you can tell it was a fantastic looking 4K disc. I did not have the Blu Ray to compare it to, so I can't really go off that. But this looked like it was made in 2022. It looked fantastic. Technology hasn't come too far in the past 2 years that there would be a noticeable difference. It looked like a brand new movie, which it basically is. So this does have Dolby Vision, and it looked great in Dolby Vision. There's some darker scenes down in the basement, and they looked fantastic. I didn't think it was too dark. I didn't think it was too bright. And this is released from Paramount, just like Friday the 13th just was recently, and some people were a little skeptical about that release. But I think this is also much newer than Friday the 13th, and this one is definitely a fantastic disc. If you're a fan of the movie, I could suggest picking it up. So as far as audio, it had a DTS HD Master Audio 7.1. It sounded really good. There's a hurricane happening in the movie, so there's a lot of rain. You hear a lot of rain in the background, and the audio design was fantastic. I think they did a great job with this. And also, back to visuals real quick, obviously those alligators are all CGI because I don't think that they were going to use real alligators in this movie. But they looked very good. I was very surprised on how good the alligators looked. And, they weren't cheesy. They weren't, fake looking. And it was just a very believable and good-looking movie, I'm not going to lie. So it's not packed with bonus content, but everything is on the 4K disc because there's no Blu Ray disc included in this. So overall, I think this is a fantastic 4K disc. I wouldn't say reference quality, but it looks amazing, it sounds amazing, but it's a new movie, so you kind of expect that. It's not an old transfer where you have to be so skeptical and really look into things, and that's where you see a ton of improvement. This is a 2019 movie, so it's going to translate beautifully to 4K, and the CGI is not corny, it looks good, it's modern era stuff, so, I'm sure the Blu Ray probably still looks good also. I haven't watched the Blu Ray. This is my first time seeing it. It was on 4K. But it looked absolutely amazing. It sounded fantastic. And Dolby Vision on here is great. Whenever Dolby Vision's involved, generally Dolby Vision brings everything a step above, in my opinion. So I would have to say this is definitely better than the Blu Ray, just for the simple fact that it has Dolby Vision. But with all that being said, I just want to say that I really enjoyed the movie. I really enjoyed the disc, the visual and audio presentation was fantastic. I had a great time watching the movie. I will definitely put this in the rotation every summer when I'm watching all my shark and alligator movies. This one's going to rank pretty high on the list, to be honest. I had a great time with it, thought it was pretty good, and I really enjoyed it. Can I suggest you guys pick it up? If you are a fan of the movie Crawl, absolutely, because this is probably the best it has and will ever look. If you're into these types of movies, then yes, go check it out. It's a great movie. And I'm sure come Black Friday, this will probably be on sale for probably around $10-15, and I think that's the sweet spot for this movie. But that's going to about wrap it up for me here, so if you guys enjoyed this video, please consider liking it, because that's the best way to help us out. And we just want to know what kind of shark and alligator movies that you like. What's your favorite? Like, Jaws is probably my favorite. That's classic. That's an icon. But, this was a good one. Do you like alligator movies better? Do you like shark movies better? Which one? Let's talk down in the comments about that. But until next time, guys, have a great one.